I always knew as a child that my parents preferred Lily, my younger sister. She was stunning, endearing, and had a way of captivating everyone in her vicinity. I, Evelyn, was the quiet, unnoticed older sibling in the meantime. People were always comparing us. Lily is so beautiful, she ought to be a model, people would exclaim. After giving me a quick look, they would clumsily shift the topic. Naturally, my parents enthusiastically welcomed Lily's achievement and lavished her with the greatest possibilities, stylish clothing, and an unending supply of extracurricular activities. Me? When I objected to Lily taking my belongings without asking, I was told to be a good big sister and received hand-me-downs. My parents moved me into the living room as soon as she decided she wanted her own room because, in their words, I didn't own much anyway. I learned to repress those emotions, even if it hurt. As we grew older, I chose a more sensible path and worked at a food processing company after high school, while Lily went on to seek a career in modeling. Being a school nurse had been my dream, but my parents shot that down. They told me, "We can't afford university for you. We need to save for Lily's future." I really realized my role in the family at that point. I moved into a small studio apartment close to my job, but I kept my head down and worked hard in spite of everything. I figured that living alone at least brought me some tranquility, because Lily called me one day, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. "Eve, we should start giving money to Mom and Dad," she exclaimed. "Like $12,000 a month each, as a thank you for everything they've done for us." $12,000 each month. To put things in perspective, I was only earning roughly $66,000 a year, while Lily's modeling career had just begun to take off. Her suggested sum was outrageous, but I would appear to be the evil daughter if I didn't comply. I therefore agreed against my better judgment. I worked weekend shifts as a construction site security guard to make ends meet. It was tiring, it was chilly in the winter and scorching in the summer. But I convinced myself that keeping my family happy was worth it. I had no idea that the tranquility would soon come to an end. I was exhausted from working 2 jobs. I was in charge of logistics at the food processing company, Monday through Friday. I spent my weekends guarding an abandoned building site from a security booth. The roughest times were at night. With only the occasional stray cat and a flickering streetlight for companionship, the cold crept into my bones. I survived on cheap instant coffee and whatever quick food I could get in between shifts, and I hardly slept. However, my parents were at least content, right? Then one day my phone blew up with their calls. I initially disregarded it. I was worn out from work. However, I eventually answered as the calls continued. My dad began yelling as soon as I took it up. He yelled, "How could you do this to us, Evelyn? I had no idea what I was doing." What was he discussing? My mother then got in. "While your sister provides us with $12,000 each month, you have been providing us with nothing. Are you completely indifferent to us?" I blinked as I tried to take in what she had said. "Nothing?" That was nonsensical. "What are you talking about?" I said. "Like Lily, I send you $12,000 each month. You are aware of that." Quiet. Then my father sneered. "Don't tell lies. Being a model, Lily makes more money than you do. You only send 80 cents a month, but she's been sending us $12,000. I went cold. Wait, what? 80 cents? It dawned on me then. Lily and I had decided to use the name Rainbow to donate the money anonymously. However, I was unaware that Lily's stage name was Rain. The transfers must have been misattributed by the bank. Lily received full credit for the $12,000, while my name was linked to a haphazard $0.80 transaction. I started laughing. It was so ridiculous, not because it was hilarious. "You really think I'd send you 80 cents? My voice trembled as I asked. "Check your financial records, Dad. As you can see, the transactions don't even include my name." He didn't want to hear it, though. "Stop apologizing. The good daughter is Lily. She's concerned about us." In contrast to you, they hung up after that. As simple as that. I lay in bed that night and gazed up at the ceiling. I was devoting all of my time, energy, and health to being treated like trash, and I was working myself to death. What about Lily? She didn't ever correct them. She gave them the impression that I had no value. Something snapped within me. The final straw was that. I was finished. I contacted the bank the following morning, stopped the automatic payments, and disconnected the funds. For them, I had broken my back for years. When the ungrateful daughter stopped making payments, we'll see how they will respond. I didn't know what was going to happen next. It was quiet for the first week after I stopped giving money. Too silent. No messages, no calls, nothing. I was initially relieved. No more accusations, no more yelling. I was taking home my paycheck for the first time in years. However, I felt in my heart that this was not the end. My phone did indeed ring on the 8th day. Lily was the one. I let the voicemail go, then she made another call, and once more. I eventually answered the 10th call. Evelyn, what the hell is wrong with you? She lost her temper. Why aren't you answering your phone? I've been busy, I spoke in a flat, quiet tone. Demanding, busy doing what? Ignoring your parents? Taking their money away without even informing them? I almost burst out laughing. You mean the money I was supposedly never sending? I said. Since you were the only one supporting them, I figured you didn't need my measly 80 cents. Lily fell silent. Then she gritted her teeth and snarled. You're being petty. Petty? I said it again. Lily, the first had to work 2 jobs to send them the money. I almost ruined my health. And they cast me out like garbage when they believed I wasn't contributing. And you, with trembling hands, I inhaled. You let them. Another long stillness. It's not my fault they love me more, she muttered after that. That was it. I was formally finished at that point. I ended the call, blocked her phone number, and I felt free for the first time in my life. Naturally, though, it didn't stop there. My parents arrived at my apartment a month later. I instantly regretted opening the door. They appeared enraged. My dad shoved past me into my living room and yelled, Why did you stop the payments? My mother crossed her arms and followed. Do you find this amusing? You are the reason we have been having difficulties. I crossed my arms. Having trouble? You're still employed, Dad. You've been purchasing high-end bags, Mom. Why do you need my money when Lily earns more than I do? They went cold. That was the first time I had ever spoken to them like that. My father's expression worsened. You're disrespecting us. No, I answered icily. I'm just finally standing up for myself. My mother then revealed her last card. Sniffling, she said, Fine. We'll just utilize your grandfather's savings if you don't want to contribute. That money was left over for family needs after all. I gazed at her. I inherited that. It had been left for me by my grandfather. You'd steal from me? I muttered. My dad retorted, You're the one being selfish. If you won't act like a daughter, then don't expect to be treated like one. That's when I understood. I wasn't loved by them. I was able to give them something they loved. And I was disposable as soon as I lost my usefulness. In front of them, I shut the door. Let them handle their money on their own. I was finished. I closed the door and stood there for a while, taking it all in. For the first time, they were experiencing the results of their decisions. For once, too, I have nothing to do with it. I had been making every effort to be the good daughter for years. To prove that I was deserving of their affection, I worked myself to the bone. But I get it now. Love was never the issue. It has to do with control. And now I was free at last. After 6 months. Never had life been better. I was earning twice as much at my new work as I had before. I started traveling, got a better apartment near my place of employment, and even resumed some old pastimes I had given up years before. For the first time, I was living for myself. Then I received an invitation one day. My dearest friend from high school, Scarlett, wanted me to attend her wedding. I therefore took a plane to Tampa, Florida, where the wedding was taking place in a stunning church with a view of the sea. I had a knot in my throat when I watched Scarlett looking lovely and joyful in her wedding gown. She had been there for me through it all. With someone who genuinely loved her, she was now beginning a new chapter in her life. She drew me away as the reception was coming to an end after the ceremony. Evelyn, she advised, you ought to quit waiting for the ideal happiness moment. You are worthy of life, love, and progress. I blinked. I am happy, Scarlett, she grinned. Then explain why you've been avoiding Ethan all night. I went cold. One of Scarlett's pals, Ethan, was a tall, self-assured architect with a lovely smile. I hadn't really thought about it, even though we had met earlier that day and spoken briefly. Naturally, Scarlett had other ideas. Go talk to him. She pushed me in his direction. I paused for a second. My life has been about surviving for so long. Work, finances, and commitments, love, relationships, or even just having fun were things I had never allowed myself to consider. Now, though, suddenly I could do whatever I wanted. I then grinned, straightened my outfit, and approached Ethan. He turned, lifted his glass, and smiled. Finally decided to say hi. I chuckled. Maybe. And I experienced something I hadn't felt in a while as we conversed, and the sea wind blew through the reception. I hope. For once, I wasn't turning around, I was on my way. And I was aware that this was only the start.